And we have a full day today. So Katie, should we just, it's 9:02. Should we get rocking?
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen so we can all follow along on the presentation. Oh, do you guys see the state of the industry? Are we all here for the same thing? Okay, cool. So, Leslie, let's introduce ourselves because we've got a lot of new people here this month. So I am Katie Hardman, the Chief Opportunity Officer for the Experience Brokerage Network and also the team leader at KW Sunset Corridor right now. Who are you, Leslie?
I am Leslie Hilbert. I am the General Manager for the Experience Brokerage Network, which of course encompasses 4 market centers here in the state of Oregon. And we counted them up, and 14 also mega agent offices throughout the state as well. And why is it important that we're reintroducing ourselves? Is Katie and I had this aha that we just launch into these state of the industries every single month, and we forget that sometimes that we have a lot of new family members that join us who may not know who all of our leaders and amazing family members are. So we wanted to start each of our presentations by reintroducing us so you know who the heck we are and why we are here presenting to you every month. So Katie, let's kick it off and do a big welcome for those new family members.
Yeah, we have 10 agents who have joined our Experience Brokerage Network family since our last State of the Industry last month. So wanted to give a big shout out to these 10 agents: Liren, Shalina, Peter, Patty, Lacey, Nina, Christina, Henry, and Devin, who are unrelated but are very close on this slide, and Oriana. So thank you guys for partnering with us. We're so excited to be in business with you. The other exciting announcement this morning, which we do every month, but is always exciting for me to, if you know me, I'm a competitive person. So I love to recognize and see the top agents across the network. So we do this in 2 ways. We do the top 5 in units and the top 5 in volume, and they're not the same. So I am excited to announce our April top agents. And again, like we do every month, we break it out into categories. So we're comparing apples to apples. So solo means 1 agent who is in the selling capacity. So 1 sales agent. So congratulations, Aubrey Martin. You blew it out of the water with 10 closed units in the month of April. Rebecca Marsh at 8, 80 Smith at 7, Allie Fuller and Heather Wright at 6 units, and then Nick Nelson and Pam Dietz at 5. Now a team is 2 sales agents working together to produce these combined numbers. So Kruger Kermode team, Sarah Hesselman and the Brock team, all with 4 units. And then Ben V. Mondragon Inc., Goss Real Estate Group, Emily Schatz Group, Sold by Jen and PDX Rockstars all came in. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way tie in the team category. And then group, these are some big numbers. So this is 3 or more agents on a team that produce these numbers. So Josh Cooley team coming in first place with 17 units closed, Benson Broker Group with 15, PDX Property Group with 14, Maurer Group with 13, and then a 2-way tie with Arc Realty and Darren Darcy with 7 units. So congratulations, everybody who made the top 5 this month. Now, watch how the numbers shift a little bit when we look at top agents by closed volume. This always makes me so excited and a little bit competitive to see how these shift. So solo agents, Rebecca Marsh coming in at number 1. Adriana made the board at number 2 with 6.9 million in closed volume. 80 Smith with 3.3 million, Allie Fuller with 2.9 million. And then Aubrey Martin with 2.6 million in the solo category. Teams, again, a little bit of a shift. The Brock team with 2.8 million, Sold by Jen with 2.5 million, Sarah Hesselman also with 2.5 million, Emily Schatz Group with 2.2 million, and then Kruger Kermode team with 2 million. And then in the group category, Josh Cooley again brought it in at number 1 with 10 million, PDX Property Group with 8.9 million, Maurer Group with 8.3 million, Benson Broker Group with 7.9 million, and then Darren Darcy with 4.9, almost 5 million in closed volume. So congratulations, great job, put down some huge numbers in April. So congrats to all of our agents across the entire network. Now, it wouldn't be a state of the industry if we didn't talk about what is going on in the industry. So Leslie, tell us what the heck is going on?
So much. So that's my answer. There's my update, guys. There is so much going on out there. You know, we could go on, and I know that it's coming at us fast and furious. Like, we thought about what did we want to cover today? Because of course we could talk again about low inventories, rampant inflation, interest rates. We could talk about the stocks and the NASDAQ having the worst 3-day stretch in 2 decades. And of course, the ever-present conversation of the shift. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about, or focus on, how our consumers are feeling out there with all this information that is coming to them and what their perception is, so that we as professionals can best guide and advise them through today's market. Now, we're not going to be pulling up your local market center stats. So I just want to say that it's important that we recommend that you continue to watch those stats so that you can be the local economist of choice and use those really valuable resources like your local MLS stats, as well as the TMO, which is our total market overview that we provide for all of our agents every single month, that has that really detailed, hyper local look at different neighborhoods throughout the state. But today, we're going to go through the home buyer sentiment report, which came out. So what is this report? Okay, you can go to next slide. It's Fannie Mae's monthly national housing survey. It was released just this past Monday. So this is the latest information on how our consumers are feeling out there in the world. It provided us some really important insight into how they're taking and tolerating and perceiving this information that's coming their way. So first of all, what is this report and where does it come from? Fannie Mae has been conducting this report since 2010, and every month they survey 1,000 consumers out in the field, and based on 6 important questions. So we're going to go through those 6 questions and kind of tell you how they've increased or decreased based on the previous month or over the last since 2010. A couple of highlights about the report before we go through those for those statistics. And you guys, we will provide this report with all of the graphs that you're going to see today. So don't worry about taking screenshots. They'll be coming to you later. The HPSI found this is the big one, a new record low in April, and the percentage of Americans who think it is a good time to buy a home. It fell to 19%, and that was breaking the previous record low, which was our previous month of March. So we've had 2 record months in a row of the lowest confidence in the time to purchase a home. Now, overall, considering the 6 questions that we're going to go through today, our home purchase index decreased 4.7% to 68.5. So our consumer confidence in the real estate market went to 68.5, which is the lowest it has been since May of 2020, which was the onset of the pandemic, where we were facing an extreme level of uncertainty about our economy, our markets, and just about what's happening in the world. Now, no surprise, why did they credit this decrease? It's largely because of that listing shortage that we're still seeing in many markets, rising prices and mortgage rates, right? Those continue to show up as challenging conditions for would-be home buyers. So another thing that's really important is where is this information also coming from? In our April 19th forecast, Fannie Mae also said that they expect home sales to decline over the remainder of this year and in 2023. So what does that look like? They expected the number of units sold in 2022 to go down by 7.4%. And then in 2023, they are predicting 9.7% decrease in the total number of homes sold or units sold throughout the United States. So that's going to have a big impact on our total market. The survey also found that 71% of people said that they thought the
Leslie froze, which means she can't hear me saying she froze. Let me while she comes back, just talk for a moment about that 7%, that 9%. Understand that will get us back to the 5.3, 5.4 million home sales that we have traditionally seen through the entire sort of history of real estate home sales. What that means for us individually, however, if there's a 7% or a 9% pullback in units, and we just showed up to this party expecting a certain number of units based on our past performance, we're going to have to change our activities. Otherwise, our business itself will be down by 7%, or our units will go down by 9% as well. And so the question, we're going to talk about this a little bit later today, is, hey, what am I willing to do this year that I was not willing to do last year? Or what do I need to add into from an activity perspective to just increase my expected units by 10%? And that's just to stay at where the market is. So that's how we want you to internalize these numbers. It isn't like, oh, well, the market's going to be down by 10%, like the units are down by 10%. If 10% fewer units move across the country in every market consistently, it just means that on average, every agent, if you sold 10 units, expect 9, right? Without doing something different. If you sold 100, expect 90 without doing something different. So I think that that is really what we have to think about. And honestly, Leslie led with this home purchase sentiment index. It's one of the most important indexes to look at. The other one is consumer confidence, which leads to that home purchase sentiment, because consumer confidence breeds like, well, how confident am I in buying a home? Now, I'm going to share one more thing, if I could, Katie, and then I'll let you continue. But a lot of that confidence comes from just market data. And a lot of your clients right now might be totally freaking out about the market. Let me share one. I'm going to share my screen, Katie, just once here. Let me share one piece of information that I was on the phone with an advisor over at Goldman about, and they sent me this. This is the S&P 500, the annual returns and the intra-year declines as of last year since 1980. What this means is, okay, every year, what did the S&P return? And you see it's pretty awesome, right? Like there's since the 80s, and I know there's been some declines, massive ones, right? But the dots represent what was the intra-year decline. Like how low did it go? Like at any point in time, for instance, you can see in 2010, for instance, it got 16 below. Like it had dropped 16%, yet it closed at the end of the year 15% up. Look at 2013. It had dropped 6% at some point during the year, but it closed 32%. Look at 2018. It had dropped 20%. It closed at 4% below where it was. Look at 2020. Like we forget, some of us, but it dropped 34% and recovered and was up by 18%. Even last year, it had incredible year, one of the best years ever, and it had dropped at a certain point in time by 5%, and it ended the year 29% up. So again, like when you're in it, man, does it feel rough. But almost every single year, right? At some point every year since the 1980s, that S&P was down 5%, 12%, 90%, 33%, 29%, 10%, 19%, 12%, 20%, 34%. And most of those years, right, all but 6 or 7 of those years since the 80s, it ended that year up. So year to date, right, you know, the S&P has dropped 13% in 2022. Like in the last 30 days, it's dropped 15% of that 13, by the way. But again, you know, we have to, this is not a bad graph, and I'll get this over to Katie so she can get it out. We can share this one. It's not a bad one to just have in our mind as well as we hear such negative consumer sentiment. I'm not saying we're going to be up by the end of the year. I'm just saying that historically, it's good to see how far low did it go and where did the year end. There's always going to be that dip, especially given sort of the perfect storm that we find ourselves in right now with market, with war, with everything else going on.
Thank you, Chris. And Leslie, I think you're back. Yes?
I'm back.
Leslie.
What was that? Chris, thank you. It takes a village. And you probably can't see me because I can't see me, right, Katie?
I can't, you're just a black box.
My video's on, so you get a black box. Chris, huge thank you so much. And for jumping in. That's why we have multiple economists of choice in this. Katie, what I'm going to say is we covered the massive highlights of the overall survey. So this is what I think we should do is I will summarize the six graphs in our wrap-up email with like the big bullet highlights. So that everybody has those and can integrate them into their presentations. But we'll be able to keep rocking and rolling today. Does that sound good?
Sounds good. Let me pull my slides back up. There we go. Okay, so we wanted to split up the serious conversation with the fun conversation, like bounce back and forth a little bit. So if you're like, stats, oh man, like this is a lot. We put the announcements in the middle of the meeting today, and this is exciting. Keeping with our promise to bring more value to you in 2022. If you joined us last month, you'll remember we talked about Experience Legacy, which is our referral brokerage for agents who are retiring out of the business, but want to still continue to refer their clients to an amazing agent and get a referral fee for that. And we announced Experience Leverage, which is our division of XBN that is helping you to leverage pieces of your business that are taking time away from growing your business. So that was our last month's announcements, and we have 2 opportunities that we want to share with you this month. So the first one is a partnership with Train Agent. And Leslie and I had conversations with many companies about the opportunity to partner and to bring you and your friends who may be looking to get into the real estate industry the best price on those courses to, 1, get your license. We have partnered with them for a 30% discount. So you can get your pre-licensing courses as low as $209, as well as a 30% discount on continuing education. So you can renew your license at a 30% discount on those courses. So we're super excited to announce this partnership, and these codes are live and you can use them if you need to renew your license now, or if you have a friend that is getting into the business or thinking about getting into the business. This is a really good code or a good partnership. We did shop around a little bit, so we're excited about this one. And then our next announcement.
Hey, Katie, real quick, there was a question around, and you may not know and you may need to find out, but does Train Agent service both Oregon and Washington?
Oh, good question, Jen. I believe so, but let me triple check and I will send out that information in the recap. But my initial answer is yes, but I will clear that up for you. And the next announcement, oh my goodness, now the chat is getting funny. Thanks, Chris. The next announcements, I'm actually going to, pass the pretend mic, I guess, over to Kate Goey to announce a new division of Experience Brokerage Network. So Kate, are you with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you and I can see you, and you're not upside down.
We are winning.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the introduction, Katie. Hi, everyone. Good morning. For those who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, my name is Kate, and I've been with Keller Williams and the XBN family for almost 4 years. Although this might be the first time you're hearing about talent acquisition, I have been finding talent for Keller Williams and the Experience Brokerage Network for years. First as a market center leadership out of Keller Williams Eugene Springfield, and now as your director of talent acquisition. Along my journey of looking for and leveling up talent for the network, one of the things that became apparent is that when you need to hire is also when you don't have the time to hire. And the Keller Williams hiring process is lengthy. Can we go to the next slide? The career visioning process is in-depth, time-consuming, lengthy, and it's really, really important. Here's a little explanation of what a typical career visioning process looks like. Some of the steps include finding the candidates, screening them, sending them the Keller personality assessment, validating the KPA, the motivational interview, thought process interview, group interview, the offer is made, and then setting the expectations for your new hire. Next slide. So let's look at who this is for. Whether you're a solo broker looking to hire your first admin on the MREA path to the 7th level of business, or any level in between, the talent division was built for you. Tier 1 is perfect for entry level positions or agents who want to conduct the interview process, but they need assistance finding those candidates. Tier 2, the visionary, is for agents who would like to leverage most of the career visioning process, but still handle the Keller personality assessment and that verification process. And then finally, the empire builder, tier 3, is for busy agents who would like to leverage the entire career visioning process from talent attraction to hire. So let's go to the next slide and look at what's included in each tier. You can see that in tier 1, we have a consultation. I find the candidates and pass their resumes back to you. And I also include their DISC assessment. With the second tier, the visionary, you get all of that with the addition of links to their social media, recorded meet and greet with personalized questions, and the KPA verified, which is recorded and passed back to you. All of the above is included with tier 3, the empire builder, with the addition of 2 to 3 level deep reference checks, sample offer letter, sample 30, 60, 90, and that includes 3 consultations to really make sure that our expectations are on track and we find that person for you. So we can go to the next slide. It's going to show my contact information. I will drop that in the chat when I'm off of here. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I would love to set up a one-on-one consultation to see how I can help you and your business grow. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Kate. So if you are at the place in your business where you're like, gosh, I think I might be needing an assistant, or I'm looking to hire a director of ops, or I'm looking to just want to explore the process, call Kate or email Kate, and she has promised to set up one-on-ones to help you in determining what your needs may be, what level of service you may need, and get set up with the system. So we know that the hiring process is lengthy and intense and so important. So our goal is to help you in growing your business. So thank you, Kate, for launching this division for us. And okay, so those are our two announcements, and our goal is to continue to bring you value every month. And no matter what level of business you're at, we're looking to, and that's why we've created these tiers, is so that you can plug in at the level of business or what makes sense for your business right now. Okay, now, I mean, I feel like you've already talked, so I don't need to do another introduction, but it wouldn't be a proper state of the industry without a presentation from our leader. So Chris, tell us a little bit of what you've got going for us today.
Well, thank you. I think today is less of a presentation and more of a conversation. I've been doing a lot of just, sort of thinking around where we are in the market, where our agents are. I've fielded a lot of sort of struggle calls over the last 30 to 45 to 60 days. And that's just a sure sign that our market is shifting, right? What seemed to work yesterday may not be working today. The results we got by doing this in November, December, and January are not the results we expected to get here in a busier time in April, May, and June. We've seen that slow down across the market. And some of you are thinking, what are you talking about, Chris? Like, there's been no slowdown in average days on market, and inventory really hasn't picked up. But it's just the sentiment of consumers and customers, right? Buyers' aggressiveness, sellers' aggressiveness. And if you haven't felt it, I promise you, as we head into June, July, September, October, we will. And so I wanted to talk about two things today. One is, how do we refocus and step out of the frenzy, which was 2021 and beginning of maybe 2022, and really center on our priorities? And then we're going to talk about just doing some work. And what that really means after a couple of years of, don't get me wrong, doing work, but potentially just different work. So what's the difference? Well, let me just ask you a question. What is a to-do list? Some of you are looking at them right now. Some of you, while I speak, are writing your to-do list. But what's a to-do list? Go ahead and just raise your hand and I can call on you. I can see the hands go up. What is it? Why do you have one? No one does. Crickets.
I'll bite.
Okay, go ahead.
It's a list of things that you hope to accomplish.
Okay, it's a list of things. I love the word, for sake of discussion, hope, that we hope to accomplish. Yeah, that's what a to-do list is. And Therese?
For me, it's action items. What do I need to go and attack? Okay.
Yeah, we just saw Stephanie say that too. It's a plan of attack, like the word attack comes up.
Right.
Here's what shows up oftentimes. We don't differentiate the difference between a to-do list and a memory list. Now, some of you have a very, very long to-do list, and it really is not all the things that you need to attack. It really is not the priority for the day. It's literally all the things that you just don't want to forget. So you start sort of compiling, and go ahead, look at your list, like look in your book, and it's all the things like, I can't forget to call that person. Oh, I can't forget to pick up the dry cleaning, literally today, by the way. I can't forget, like, we have all these things that we can't forget. And we carry them around, right? And we just can't remember them, so we put them on this to-do list. Now, here's what statistics show. When we create long to-do lists, studies show that 30% of people will actually include something they've already done just because it feels good to cross something out. Now you're laughing because you do that. Like you throw one thing on there or two things on there that we've already done in the day. Like, don't forget, Chris, you did this at 8. Like, I know you're doing the list at 9, but you already did this. So write it down and cross it off. Here's why. Because every single one of us has a need for cognitive closure. That's what it's called. We have the need for cognitive closure. Our instinct is to look for easy things to get done to give our brain what it needs, which is this cognitive closure. And so you look at your to-do list and it is long, right? It is a long list of things to do. If you need that for your memory, based on your, not your age, I wasn't going to say that, but if you need that, based on whatever the reason is that you need that to-do list, great, keep a to-do list. But right now in our business, we need to begin building out a priority list. A priority list. I'm going to give you three things to write down. That's it. 3 things. The first thing you write down on that priority list is your number 1 priority for tomorrow. So clearly we're doing this the night before, right? Or for those of you that your nights are sacred, you're doing this before you leave your office or your desk or your working area that at the end of the day, like what is your number 1 priority for tomorrow? The second thing you're writing on that list is the one thing you'd like to do if the first one gets done. All right? So if you get the first thing on your list done, what is the next thing? What is the first thing after that thing you'd like to get done? And the third thing that you're going to write down is the first thing you want to do the day after. In other words, do not keep writing other activities for that day. It's what do I need to get done today? That's my priority. If I've got that done, what's the most important thing I need to get done next? And then what's the thing I need to get done first tomorrow, the day after, right? Like, I guess it would be the day after tomorrow if I'm doing it tonight. That's it. Those 3 things. Here's our challenge when it comes to that priority list. Parts of our brain are there for the purpose of being on autopilot. Anyone have certain things that just happen on autopilot? Every one of us does, right? We do things on autopilot. The basal ganglia in our brain is the portion of our brain that is there for that very reason. Like we have it, it serves a purpose. It's what habits and the power of habit is all about. So we need to train our brain properly though. Otherwise, we will always go on autopilot. Our autopilot needs to be going to what is the first thing that I need to accomplish today. When I do accomplish that, I autopilot it back to the list and say, hey, what was the thing I said I would get to if I accomplished the first thing? I don't get to touch that, by the way, if I don't accomplish the first thing. That is autopilot. We need to train our basal ganglia properly so that our autopilot builds out that to-do list properly and we follow it properly. Now, here's our challenge. Most of us don't like the first thing because it's the hardest thing. And it doesn't get knocked off our list fast, right? It's the heavy lifting, it's a long activity, it's the couple hours in the morning that we're doing what we know we're supposed to do. But the reality is it's harder and harder and harder to focus on only one task for more than a few minutes, which means we're automatically failing if we can't figure out how to focus on one task for more than a few minutes. And that's why we love these to-do lists, because we get to focus on multiple tasks for just a few minutes at a time. Yep, I'll make that call. Yep, I got that done. Yep, I booked that travel. Yep, I got that done. And instead of only having one thing to look at and one thing to focus on for a longer period of time, we want everything shorter. So we have to be careful. We are creatures so good at focusing on the short-term goal, but we have to begin to focus on that longer-term goal. And it starts with setting a priority list that only has a longer framed time in our day to accomplish that. Don't let anyone with your email address or your phone number set a to-do list for you. So let me explain how that happens. You start your day, you hop into your email. How many are there? 20, 30, 40, 50. And then so what do we start doing? Because we start our day there, we begin answering them. And here's what happened. That became your priority list. In fact, what you said is, the other person's priority for me became my priority. Instead of me blocking off the hour and a half first to just get your priority done. What is more important to your personal goals and you? Is it your priority or theirs? I promise you, it needs to be your priority. Wake up, focus on that first priority. Do not get caught on other people's priorities from the evening before. Because here's the deal. You know that you do that to other people as well. Like you sit down for the evening and you say, I'm gonna get some catch up done. And what do? You fire off what? 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 different emails that you just didn't get done for that day. Hoping what? Like that becomes their priority in the morning. So one, maybe don't do that as much, but two, that is okay to knock those out after you get your one priority for the day done. That is the only way we are going to do something different in 2022 than we did in 2021. Here's why I know, because 2021, listen, all you had to do was show up and there was deals to be had. Like things were moving so fast, we lost our good habits about those priorities. I know that. I watch agents every single day. The rhythm that they had is not there. We have to get back into that rhythm of one priority a day. If you knock that out, what would you love to accomplish? And hey, what is your priority for tomorrow? The reality is your priority is almost maybe the same every single day. Today, tomorrow, today, tomorrow, right? It's that hour of true lead gen time. It's that hour of lead follow-up. It is spending that time with that database, right? So that they're not listing with someone else. Here's what's so funny. You find out that you're not following your priority because the first thing you decide to do is look at pretty houses in MLS when you walk in the morning, and you realize that your seller listed with the agent down the street, and then you're just all upset for the morning. Why? Well, it's just you didn't have a priority for the last 6 months of calling those people in that first hour and a half. It's super simple to win in this industry. It's super simple to win as an entrepreneur. It's super simple to win in this business. It really is. The hardest thing for us to do is maintain that priority. So what will that take in any year, but especially this year? Is that word we've talked about a lot. It's become sort of a cliche word, and it's the word grit. It does. It takes a lot of grit to stick to a boring schedule. It takes a lot of grit to show up every day and do the same thing. It takes a lot of grit. Like we convince ourselves, well, I'm not sure that's the life I want. I kind of like to be a free spirit. Yeah, me too. Like I kind of like to sort of, have a slow morning on Thursdays, or kind of a chill morning on Tuesdays, or man, I just need a recovery morning on Mondays. And you know what? It's Friday. It's Friday. Like, let's just ease into our Friday. And before you know it, you have 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5 chill, meandering, slow mornings, which means that now certainly other people's priorities are yours because you didn't take advantage of your time set aside for your priority. Angela Duckworth defines grit pretty simple. We all know her definition. It's perseverance and passion, right? It's where perseverance and passion sort of collide. But the caveat to that, as she's done more and more research, she said, yeah, but it's perseverance and passion for a long-term goal. See, I could have perseverance and passion for just one deal. Like I just need a deal right now. So I'm going to persevere. I'm going to find this deal, and you go out and find it. Not with good habits, not for the long-term goal of having a consistent business, but just for the deal. So you might have been great in getting that deal, but real grit shows up when perseverance and passion is for a long-term goal. Grit always has a long-term course. It is about the long term. Perseverance stretches over years and years and decades, right? Through obstacles and setbacks. So what? The market's shifting. It's funny. Warren Buffett says there's a few things that drive success. One is intelligence, I'm looking around the room, you have that. Like, good for you. You show up here. First, you're here, so you must be intelligent, right? So intelligence. Second is research. Listen, if you don't like to research, we do that here. Like, that's part of why we started these monthly calls, was to do some research, to provide some data. Research is important. But one of the biggest determining factors of by the way, number 3 is hard work. So just be willing for that, hard work. But number 4, he said, it's the number of market shifts that you have the opportunity to go through. It's going to determine your level of success. Like, I take a step back and I say, well, shoot, that's a win for us. No wonder some of us have not succeeded as much as we wanted to over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Why? We've been waiting for this market shift. In fact, the market took one away from us. He says that the secret to success in the long term is the number of market shifts that we have the opportunity to go through. Like, I feel like my opportunity was taken away from the last decade. Like, I want to get through 2 shifts real fast. Why? Because if we have that grit and we have that consistency going through it, I promise you the market share will show up here. It'll show up for you. It'll show up for our agents, which then collectively show up for our brokerage. Pretty awesome when you think about it. Those are his 4 things: intelligence, research, hard work, and the opportunity to go through multiple market shifts. Dan Chambliss is a sociologist. He calls grit the mundanity of excellence. What does that mean? What is the mundanity of excellence? What's a simple way to describe that?
Time on task over time.
Yeah, Eric, it's time on task over time. What's another one word that comes to mind when you hear that expression? Go ahead. I
think it's the habits.
Habits. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one
Consistency,
Darren. Yeah. You know, the word that comes to my mind is boring. I mean, it just is, right? Like the root word there is mundane. If it's mundane, you're not going to feel like you're doing anything special. You're not going to feel like you have this like special little skill. But he was a sociologist, but he was called in to work with a lot of swim teams at all levels, Olympic level, the around the corner swim team at your local pool. Like, that's what he was. Like, he studied this, and he said, what's the difference between those two, the Olympic swimmers and the around the corner pools? He said it's the mundane. It's the commitment to just show up every single day, make tiny changes that nobody can see, to become better at your craft, to be devoted to you, not to someone else, but to be devoted to you. It's commitment that comes from having interest in what we do. So Angela says there's 3 things, and I'm going to share them with you to develop grit. The good news is, if you might say, well, gosh, Chris, I'm like the poster child for ADD. Like, I'm like the poster child of like just fly by the seat of my pants. Like, is there any hope? Like, I don't think I've done the same thing twice in 2 weeks, let alone 1 week. Like what's the hope for me? Grit is learned. Grit is learned. You know, you're not born with it. You know, you learn it. Number 1. She said, have curiosity conversations. If you feel like you're standing in one place, or you're potted in one little pot plant, not a pot plant, but a planter. If you're planted in one little pot, begin having curiosity conversations with those outside of your garden, right? Like, you will begin to develop grit. It's why network relationships matter. It's why coming to our network events, stay tuned, right? We're 60 days away, but stay tuned. Like, if come to those, right? Have curiosity conversations with those outside of your garden. Number 2, it's reflection. So when you're gonna have curiosity conversations, man, like, I'm really struggling with grit, Noah. 2 is reflection. What are the things that interest you? If that's hard, right? You're thinking, well, gosh, if I'm gonna grow this, then I have to be interested in what I'm doing. That is a fact. And I just don't know what I'm interested in. Fine. Then what is boring you? Right? Do a little bit of self work. What bores you? What is boring to you? Like, write that down. I assure you that that's probably not interesting. Fair? Like, prime your reflection around what's interesting to you. Some of us are at an inflection point. Like, gosh, I'm in this transitory space. Like, what am I going to do? Am I going to recommit? Am I going to do this? Right? Have curiosity conversations, spend some time in reflection. And you know what she said number 3 was? Do anything. Just get into action. She was having an interview or a conversation rather with Louis Mannion. He's the founder of Duolingo, right? One of the most widely used language apps in the world. And he said this, he said, what I learned as I was building this company is I just needed to do something. Some days I just didn't know what it was I was supposed to do. I was like, oh gosh, what do I do? And he said, I just did something that day. When you constantly have conversations about something over and over and over again, when you're constantly getting into the motion of doing, you know what it feels like to roll into the office and not do something? Super uncomfortable. So we need to change that basal ganglia, right? Like your autopilot or your automatic might be kind of that chill morning. For me, I promise my autopilot is, let's just get some stuff done. Like, what do I need to do today? Oh my gosh, I don't know what I need to do today, but I'm just going to figure out something to do. When you constantly have something to do, yeah, you're going to make some wrong decisions. That's okay. It builds grit. Curiosity conversations, reflection, and then do anything. Get into action. Now, last thing I'm going to share, and then I'll hand it back over. I thought it was a fascinating question. Okay, so if I'm developing grit, or I want to develop grit, someone asked Angela, so is grit more like height or weight? Is grit more like height or weight? Here's the answer. It's weight, right? Grit is learned. Grit is just like weight. Because although both of those are products of both genetics and environment, height and weight, fact, it's a product of your genetics and your environment. At a certain age, you lose control over height, do you not? Like, you actually do have some control over your height as a child, right? Environment, nutrition, right? You have some control over that. Weight, though, can be taken control over up and down at any age, right? Like, so grit is more like weight than it is height. Personality, character, grit included, are more like weight in that you always have the possibility of intentionally affecting it. So what are the correlating diet and exercise that affect grit? Carol Dweck said it was mindset. In fact, the only reason why Angela Duckworth's work exists is because she was fascinated by the work of Carol Dweck, which was all about growth mindset, being willing to do things differently, being willing to be malleable. Angela did a study with 9th graders, and to show that their minds and all minds are malleable. One side of the 9th grade class was taught about growth mindset and the malleability of the brain. The second half of that 9th grade class in this school, the other side of the class wasn't taught about it at all. So one was taught about it, one wasn't, right? Just in their curriculum. Experimental evidence showed that just purely belief that human nature was that human nature had causal impact on motivation and outcome changed academic performance. In other words, just the belief that growth mindset existed in this half of the 9th grade class automatically changed academic performance. Growth mindset has a real effect on your grit. Understanding and internalizing that grit is learned means that all of us, right? That's malleable for us. We can diet, we can exercise, we can affect our grit. We can start by going back to our suggestion of what is my number one priority? What is the second thing I'd like to do if the first gets done? What is the first thing I want to do the day after? That will slowly begin to transform the results that we get day in, day out. Cool? So just our topics for this month. Get your priorities super clear right now. It is more important in this market than any market. And then 2, commit to being gritty around it. If you're not a gritty person, fine. Like it was fine yesterday. It's not fine after today. Begin developing it. Remember, grit is not your height. Like I'm not gonna grow anymore. Unfortunately, this is my height, guys. However, I can gain 20 pounds. I can lose 15. I shouldn't lose 15. Like, but I can change that. I control it. Cool? Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Chris. And for those of you who are wondering what the heck our next big event is for our network, Katie, I think we should announce that we have officially set the date of our next Master Series event and location. So do you want to do the big announcement?
Yeah, I would love to. These things make me so excited. I think in a past life, I might have been an event planner. And Chris is right. 60 days out, save this date. We will be talking about mindset. We will be talking about priorities. We will be talking about grit. July 7th. And I know this is vacation time, so make sure you're back from vacation by July 6th, or you don't leave until July 8th, because you won't want to miss Thursday, July 7th. In Eugene, we will be hosting our next Master Series, and we are secretly calling it Josh Day. So hint, hint on who our speakers might be. But we are super excited to bring our second Master Series event to you this year.
Awesome, awesome. And more details to follow. Watch out for sign up, information, speakers, etc. So Katie, we have something else that is going on this week because it is a huge week in Keller Williams world. So you want to pull that up so we can be ready to rock and roll and close out this state of the industry with a little conversation about the impact that we're going to make on our communities, right? We help our communities every single day. And this is just one more opportunity in KW culture, because this Thursday is Red Day. Now, most of you know what that is. And for those of you who don't, we're going to give you just a quick summary as well as tell you what we are going to be doing across the state of Oregon. So Red Day stands for Renew, Energy, and Donate. It is Keller Williams International Day of Giving, where every Keller Williams brokerage across the world shuts our doors down for the day, and our agents give where we live. And in addition to that, why was Red Day formed? It was in honor of our mother of culture of Keller Williams, Mo Anderson, as a birthday gift to her, which is why it always falls on the Thursday in May. So Katie, we've got some big plans going on across the state. Help guide us through what's going on, who they can contact, and how people can get involved.
Yeah, every office has a committee that focuses their efforts for May on Red Day. So we've invited each office's committee or a leader from that office to share what is going on in Portland Metro, in Salem, Eugene, and in Medford. So first up, Capital City. Sarah, do you want to share a little bit quickly about what you're doing in Salem?
Absolutely. We will be spending the whole day supporting the court-appointed special advocates of Marion County office, an amazing organization that supports youth that are currently in the foster care system. We will be rolling out quite a bit of bark dust and supporting them outdoors, organizing an enormous toy closet, and then coming back to our market center for lunch and to write letters for the volunteers and the kids in care.
Awesome. And please, everybody, as you're out and whatever you're doing for Red Day, please, please, please take pictures and send them to your team leader so we can collect all of this information and goodness and share the story of what we're doing. Next up, Eugene. Matt, I know you're in your car. I don't know if you're prepared to talk about this or if someone from Eugene wants to share what you're doing with the Eugene mission.
Yeah, no, I'm good. You'll have to pardon me. I literally just picked up hundreds and hundreds of feet of lumber for Red Day tomorrow while my truck is loaded up with pressure washers, and I am today heading down to the mission to get things ready for tomorrow. So We have a two-prong approach. So there is, for the men's side of the mission, UG mission, essentially these gentlemen that have kind of been homeless or unhoused, they're getting cleaned up, getting dry, getting sober. So we're going to build move-out kits for them, so that they can keep their new Section 8 housing clean, and really return to contributing, folks. And then the other part is, which this was pretty personal for me when I went there initially to meet with these folks, is there's a women and children's side. And basically these women show up in trauma. They show up with a duffel bag with all of their worldly possessions and a child or two with them. So we're going to be there. There's a special space that's behind the mission that the kids can kind of play in, and it's kind of just it has sort of turned into a catch-all. And so we're going to go in, we're going to build a play structure, we're going to build wooden benches, I'm going to pressure wash, we're going to put up some artwork. We're going to really try to make that traumatizing situation as less traumatizing for those kids while they're there, so that they can feel comfortable in that space and really kind of flourish as they're navigating the trickiness of life with homeless parents.
That's amazing. Thank you for putting together that project for the whole Eugene Market Center. And Matt is the ALC Red Day Chair. So this is his passion project for the year for the office. So thank you, Matt, for sharing what you guys are doing. Next up, we have Southern Oregon. Laura Knight, who is the ALC Culture Chair for Southern Oregon. Are you on the call to share?
I am right here.
Yay. Tell us what you got going.
All right. So what we chose to do is to give thanks to our seniors, for without them, we wouldn't be here. So we've chosen, Southern Oregon is a little spread out. I'm in Klamath Falls. Then we have the Medford office, which is joining up with Grants Pass and Ashland, of course. But we decided on working with the seniors. And in Klamath Falls, we actually have Shelley Witcherly coming over from Grants Pass to help us out. And we are beautifying the front of our senior center. And it's a place for seniors to go socialize. It also does the Meals on Wheels, gives them resources, and it really does support them in the things that they need throughout their day-to-day life. So what we're going to do is beautify the fronts and plant flowers, scrub things up, restain the benches, just make it beautiful. So this way, when they get outside, when we have sunshine and no rain or snow in May, they can sit outside and enjoy the weather.
Gosh, I love that. Sounds like everybody's doing a lot of manual labor tomorrow, which is exciting. So thank you, Laura, for sharing a little bit about what you guys are doing. Okay, one more. Keller Williams Sunset Corridor, Katya, who is our ALC Culture Chair here in Portland or in Hillsborough. Do you want to share what we're doing with Solve?
Of course, and I'll be short and sweet because it's almost 10. So as you might know, our office have agents throughout several locations. We go all the way from the gorge to the coast. And this time around, we are partnering with Solve Oregon to go and clean up around 7 miles of Rockaway. And we are super excited to serve a different community this time around. And in addition to that, any of our agents that can help, we are also collecting food donations for the food bank. So that's it.
Yay. So I'll be spending the day at the beach tomorrow, guys. 7 miles of beach cleanup. I'm super excited to join you guys, although I think it's going to rain. So I'll bring a coat.
Rain or shine, it's Oregon.
That's right. That's right. Okay. That is what we are doing to spread culture tomorrow. Leslie, any other updates before we wrap up?
No, I think we hit it, you guys. Have an incredible Red Day. We're so excited to see you guys give back locally. Just a reminder again, take photos of the impact that you're making, the projects that you're working on. Please send them to your team leaders. We're going to be putting together something special at the end of this. Keep July 7th on your calendar. Watch for more details, and I will make sure that you all get those economic update slides. You guys have an amazing week and look forward to seeing you all soon.
Bye, everyone.